Welcome back to the Life with Nick podcast, a podcast built around real conversations with everyday people. Here, we give everyday people uncommon attention because behind every person is a lesson, a story, a perspective, or a struggle that deserves to be heard. Thanks for living a little life with me. Now, today's guest is Big Al's Hot Mustard. And I got to say, I love what these boys have been cooking up, no pun intended. First, we go into the story and the brand of where Big Al's Hot Mustard even came from. Awesome backstory, by the way. Then we get into why mustard, right? There's a lot of condiments out there, and yet mustard seems to be the condiment of choice. And with that, how the guys stay on top of their game, what they're cooking up, what they're trying and experimenting with. So then that way they're, building their future business. And then lastly, towards the end of the podcast, we get into some of the future aspirations that these boys are getting into, and I am not going to spoil it. I will say this is a podcast that kind of heats up, again, no pun intended, as the show goes on. So if the first couple minutes aren't necessarily totally your thing, bear with us. And towards the end, we really get into all the good stuff that you guys are wanting to hear about. So thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get to the show. Welcome back to the Life with Nick podcast. I'm your host, Nick Kleitch, and with me today are two young men who have ambitions to conquer the world, and I love it, and I can't wait to get into having a good conversation with Big Al's Hot Mustard. So, boys, how we doing?
What's going on, Nick? Good to see you, man.
Love it. I appreciate you guys being open to the show, and we're going to be talking a little bit about kind of the origin story of Big Al's Hot Mustard. We're going to be talking about hot mustard itself, and then just kind of everything in between. I think you guys got such a unique kind of background into this thing. And what I love most about everything is just that your ambition and you want to serve the world in a good way. So it's not too cheesy in the sense of, you're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to be a superhero, but it's also like well-intended stuff. And we'll get into why that kind of got to you, Al, and where you kind of molded from. So if you guys are okay, I'd love to dive into this thing.
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, Richard, we went to school together, but I'm going to pretend like we're just kind of getting to know each other for the first time. So I always like to start off with a question on the podcast to just kind of get the juices rolling. So what is a topic, a subject, or a concept that has just been really interesting to you lately or energizing to you? And I just throw this out here because, like, for me, I just rewatched Our Universe narrated by Morgan Freeman, and dude, like studying space in our universe and everything like that, like that's just been so crazy to me personally. So I'm curious to know what you got going on over there, friend.
Yeah, I'd say so. I recently became a father. My daughter will be 9 months here in 2 days, so that has been an absolute blessing. It's been super cool, and just learning about babies, man. My wife has another one on the way, due in June. So, like, I'm full dad mode right now. Give me the New Balance shoes and the jorts. That's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I need to get out there and mow the lawn and just be full dad mode. Right, that's all I can think about, and it's awesome.
That's a beautiful. Well, congrats, obviously, on your second and your first. What's something about fatherhood that you didn't expect, but you're kind of enjoying as well?
I know it's cliche, but it's the coolest thing ever. Like, just she's like sitting up about to start crawling, and just like she can be sad doing whatever, and she just smiles at you and like doesn't matter. Like your whole world just stops, dude. It's like the coolest feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. It's really cool.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to experience that myself.
Yeah.
Me and the wife just got a house here recently in Cedar Rapids, and that is the next step in the process. So I'll take your advice and just trust the process.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that, man.
The sleep part's tough, but it gets better. It gets better.
That's fair. Mr. Alex.
Yes,
same question to you, my friend. Well, what's something that you've been on that you've been inspired by or energized by?
I read a book. I've read so I read Green Lights a little bit ago by McConaughey. Super good. Highly
Mm,
recommend that read to anyone who's listening. But one of the things I got from it is the idea of raising the floor, and that's kind of been my mantra for all of 2026. Not only in any organization I'm in, not in anything like with just the business, but personally, raising the floor of my everyday, my baseline of what can I do to be better, just a little bit better every day. And if I can raise the floor for the
mm.
guys around me, then I can improve not only like their situations, but my situation as well. And so that's been super exciting for me. I became the VP of my fraternity here a few months ago. So it's been kind of cool to
Hey,
step into a position with a little leadership and be able to kind of, take some of the things that I've learned from being in college and kind of really try and dive into that, especially, trying with all these random things I've tried to do and all the side quests, trying to teach the youngins, the freshmen a little bit about like just diving in and not being fearless, being able to call yourself and look at yourself and say, yeah, man, that was a weird, cringy thing to do, but I tried. So that's been my big thing.
that's right. Love it, man. So let me unpack that just a little bit here. So when you're talking about raising the floor, I'm assuming that's like elevating your standard. Is that a
Yeah,
similar way to phrase it, or is it
yeah,
different than that?
absolutely. Because so like you have your ceiling, you have where you plan to go, where your dreams, your aspirations, but your floor is what you're doing on the day to day. Your floor is did you get up this morning at 5 a.m.
Mhm.
when like you said you were going to do? Did you said you were going to be in a caloric deficit today? Did you actively do that? I'm training for the LA Marathon. I'm 2 weeks out, terrified, but it's
Yeah, why not, right?
did I go get my run in today? Did I train properly? Did I recover properly? Like those are the little things that end up being the floor. Because everyone can say they want to go somewhere and want to do something, but it's your little actions that actively improve and create those situations for you.
Beautifully said, my friend. Yeah, I echo that. And me and Rich played sports together too, and we went to West Delaware. You did too, obviously, I think, right? Or
Yeah,
did you go somewhere else?
I didn't go to West Delaware.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
I didn't go to West Delaware. I went to high school up in Massachusetts. So
Oh,
I
okay.
was in St. Mary's for a little while back in the day, but didn't get to spend too much time up in West Delaware.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Okay. No worries. Yeah, I was just going to throw out one thing that our football coach always said is expect victory in everything that you do, and sometimes people can kind of dust that off, but I think it's kind of cool phrase to expect to win and expect victory in everything that we do. Um, Beautiful, man. I appreciate you boys kicking this thing off, and I think really where I want to start to give the audience an idea of both of you, if you wouldn't mind. So you guys are obviously brothers, and just wanted to like maybe start with you, Alex, on like who you are, a little bit of the childhood, maybe, just to kind of backdrop that, but then like kind of the more current things that you've been doing, like so maybe kind of getting out of high school, college, and then where you are today.
yeah, absolutely. So, growing up, Richard's obviously my older brother. He's 9 years older than me. So growing up, I like to try to pretty much do everything he didn't do because I was always, in his shadow. Bro's massive, so it was always like being like wink, wink. Always, I know that wink was always on me trying to try out for football and trying out Voss too, like being, hey man, come try out for football, come try out for wrestling. I was like, all right, no, I'm gonna do soccer and everything musical that I can possibly do because that's the complete 180 of Rich, like the complete 180.
That's so
Um,
funny.
and then I moved to Massachusetts for high school. Got away from being in his shadow a little bit. Because I was always Rich's younger brother. Even at St. Mary's where kids didn't know him,
Mm.
I was still his younger brother. So, and which is also a cool thing. It was really a cool thing to have such a role model to look up
Oh
to.
yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, you're making it
um,
sound like I was that bad of a guy, but geez.
yeah. Um, got to Massachusetts and realized that Massachusetts soccer in the New England is a lot more serious than soccer over in rural Midwestern Iowa, and I realized I was horrible. So realized maybe
Mm.
take my talents to the 3 point stance, spend some time playing football, doing some things. Played football for a while. Did pretty much tried every sport under the sun. I was a big ski racer back in the day. So ski I
Ooh,
did
yeah.
on the Hartwick Huskies for a little bit. Did the water ski team. Um, tried to try like I said, really try to do every side quest I could possibly do. Then coming into college, I realized I was going to go play D3 ball, and then I realized that D3 ball is an extra job, and I'm going to end up with no cartilage in my knees by the time I'm done, and I'm not going to make any money from it. Not going to, and then my bones and my body are just messed up for life. So realized that wasn't the best move for me. Came down here. I'm at the University of Tennessee now, and I've spent the last 3 years just loving it. I mean, there's nothing better. Getting to go watch. I would say that sacrificing, giving up my cleats, and getting to watch the best players in the NFL or that are going to be in the NFL someday play every day.
Right.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool feeling to have. So.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah, and I will say too, when I was 18, 19, I tried to go play baseball at the next level, and it was rewarding to be in practice and all that good stuff and try to compete. But now that I'm on the other side of it, there's just so many other things you can do with your life. But in some respects, like especially for West Delaware, like sports is just a massive identity thing as well. And so being associated with some of that stuff like just gave you that sense of camaraderie and whatnot. But post college, I mean, just being able to explore different fun activities and just be a human being is super refreshing too. Because I mean, your time is so consumed. Like especially in college, your time is so consumed as an athlete. It's just not even. It's a job, unfortunately. But I was telling Rich before you got on here, Big Al, that I think Tennessee would be. I think they have the coolest entrance in college football, and the color scheme and everything about them just like. They're such a slept on, and maybe not even slept on. That's probably not the right word because they're top 15 program, but they just have such an unbelievable culture down there.
Yeah, the culture's awesome. I mean, top 15 programs. It's given us a lot of credit for the way we played last season, but they've been they've been balling out, which has been cool. It's a cool experience, and we almost beat Georgia. I was in the fourth row for the Georgia game. That was awesome. I wish we would have made the field goal, but I was taking down that field goal if we made that field goals. The post was just gone. It was going in the river. Would have been awesome, but it didn't happen. I was probably for the best, but
You'll experience it sometime as a Tennessee fan. I know that because I think it was maybe 2 years ago when you beat Alabama. I can't quite remember, but that was epic.
Yeah, 3 years ago they beat them for the first time. Last year I did get to go on the field, and I got to hold the goalpost for a little bit. And we started trying to walk it out of the stadium, and the cops started tasing the guys in the front. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So
yeah, that's absolutely not worth it. I mean, it's cool to be around, but appreciate it, man. And then one more question, then I'll turn it over to Rich here a little bit. So obviously, we're going to get to Big Al's hot mustard, and that's going to be a real bulk of what we're going to podcast about. But have you always had an entrepreneurial mindset, or like how does that get developed? Because for me, not that I'm like a heavy entrepreneur at this point, but it's just like a grown curiosity to the point where I at some point would love to start a business. Obviously, I got the podcast going too as a side project, but talk to me a little bit about that.
I've always wanted to be and do something a little bigger than myself. I'd say whether that I didn't really know when I was little. Like that was always true for me. I didn't know what that was going to be. Like I said, I was into music, so I thought maybe I'd be a singer, maybe I'd be whatever. I want to go on The Voice. That was my big goal from when I was like little. And then the mustard happened.
Yeah.
But it's really something that I think the entrepreneurial mindset is really just about the idea of I want to build something and give back to people in a way like that is something I get full control over. There's something special about, being the final decision on bringing a product to life and bringing a service out there that you can really say is like Big Al's Hot Mustard is my baby, man. Like it's something that it used to be Alex's Hot Mustard. And then I was like, all right, no, we're going to do this now. This is the way I want it to go. Like every post that goes out, I get a look at the posts. I make all the posts. I make sure that like they are exactly how I want them to be. And I try and curate the vibe for everything we put out and everything we do. And I feel like that's really the special part of being an entrepreneur to me. It's there's the mindset part of obviously that's the being ambitious and wanting to grow and scale. And there's lots of levels to that. But the real part that calls to me is that I get the full say and I get like to be able to live a lifestyle that I want to live. If I like the idea of being able to work from my computer and like be able to do that from wherever I want to do that from. I want to be able to travel and go and witness. We have a beautiful world out there, so be able to travel and witness everything we can witness, and be able to spend that from one of my cousins actually spends a lot of time going. He works from his computer. He goes down to Mexico, down to Puerto Rico to go surf all the time. It's like I want to be able to do that, but I also want to be able to give the world a product that I can actually be proud of and that is beneficial to people. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I second that 100%. Like that's just the core of the American history right there is making a name for yourself, but also doing it in a good way. And as we'll get into, especially in our society right now, like Whole Foods, things that don't have just bullshit in them is such a big deal for people to consume. So flipping over to you a little bit, Rich. I know that we obviously went to high school together, and you went to you and I know that you were like obviously into business, you're in banking right now, but as he's kind of like feeling his way through, do you just kind of see the opportunity as a brother to be like, hey, I can just like help you out? Like I'm in banking, I've seen, a lot of different businesses. I understand like just the nuts and bolts, or was it more so like him just like pinning you down, being like, you're gonna come do this with me. I'm gonna force it on
Yeah, yeah, right. Well, for one, he couldn't pin me down, but definitely
you.
like the big bro thing for sure. And like I'm here to support in any way I can, and like it's pretty rewarding to see like it's like my little mini me, and he's super ambitious, and I want to help do whatever I can. So I mean, he's got a good product, and we have a good product, and he's just gonna run with it, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, no
yeah.
doubt. No doubt. So Al, I know we talked a little bit before the podcast on a pretty major accomplishment that you had from a physical standpoint. And whether this is your biggest accomplishment or not, I was just kind of curious, like as you reflect on life right now, you've done a lot, you've seen a lot, and you will. Your trajectory is fantastic. But what would you say is your biggest accomplishment at this point, and why is that your biggest accomplishment?
I'd say like I believe you're referring to when I lost all the weight. I think that is one of my biggest accomplishments. It was really because it wasn't even the physical part of that. It was more of a mental shift, and being able to have that mental shift
Mm,
was the biggest. I think one of the biggest parts of my life and changed the trajectory of not only like how I operate, but how I see things in the world, and that was huge for me. So absolutely.
yeah, and I think that not that I've consulted a lot of people on their fitness journeys, but I've obviously been on my own fitness journey, and I think it's just the ability to manage pain. I think it's the ability to push yourself more than you'd ever thought. And the secret ingredient, I feel like, is consistency. I think that's where a lot of people, in today's world too, they just want a quick fix on everything. And to achieve a great body, to achieve a great business, anything, like you just simply have to be consistent. But what's great about that is if you're good at being consistent, then the world is your oyster. I mean, you can just continue to build brick by brick, and especially in fitness, that's so important. So like if you were to talk to the guy that started the journey and where you are now, what do you think that you're most proud of there outside of cultivating that mindset? Because obviously that's a huge transition mentally, but also I like to just like reflect on myself too. Because one thing I would say to my younger self is like, hey man, don't be so hard on yourself. There's so many opportunities out there that if you defeat yourself, you're not even giving yourself a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my proudest moment is was around the similar time. You know, when I lost about 60 pounds going into my junior year of high school. After I read David Goggins, and you read that, and he gets you pretty fired up. But I
Yeah.
read that book, and my proudest moment of that was not only the mental, it was really the mental of being able to say, here's who I am. I'm going to be unapologetically myself, and I have
Yeah.
people, depending like being, I was called, so I stopped doing the mustard from the time I was about 13 because I started getting called Mustard Boy pretty consistently. On top of
Uh,
being called Peter Griffin and a plethora of names for being a fat kid. Mustard Boy, is not the greatest when you're trying to get a girlfriend and trying to like impress girls, and then some guy comes up to you and slaps you in the back, and says, "Oh, what's up, Mustard Boy?" So being able to really dive down and be like, yeah, I make mustard, man. Like that's what I do. But like I don't see like that's what I'm proud of. That's what I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help with something that I have. I'm trying to help with the products I have, and being able to get in the mindset of yeah, like everyone's gonna always judge, but the people that are judging probably aren't doing something better for themselves. Like if they have enough time to
that's
judge
right.
you, they're not doing anything else for themselves. So that was my best mindset shift I had.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah, and I think what is the phrase there? They always say never take advice, or don't ever take into consideration the opinions of those you never take advice from. So, I mean, when these people are coming after you like that, I mean, they're just doing it because they got nothing better to do, and you got too many big things going on. But I always like to touch on that because I think that's a motivating factor into where you are today. Um, Over to you here real quick, Rich. So like as an older brother, you see him going on this journey, you see him kind of shifting a little bit. I mean, what are you seeing from your perspective when he's going through that? I mean, do you guys stay in touch during this point, or are you more so just kind of, softly supporting him? I never
Oh
had a
no,
brother. That's why I asked the
right,
question.
right, yeah. I mean, we're about as close as you can be. We talk every day, like multiple times per day, whether it's Snapchat or just texting. But we talk all day, every day, basically. So whether it's business or just like, hey, like this is going on, like what this girl's being weird, like what do I do? Just talking about everything. So it's it's we're super close. So it's cool to see him grow, man. I was just telling you before this, like I remember the day he was born. I was in third grade, and now he's gonna be 21 next Monday, which is just like the craziest thing ever. I don't even know how it's real. So it's been a blessing,
That's
even though
awesome. That's
you can
awesome.
be
Yeah.
an asshole for sure.
21, man. 21's a
21,
ferocious age, dude.
man.
Oh man, I remember where
I
I
feel like I
was.
was
It's
21 like a year ago. Now I'm about 30, so I don't know how
I
that
know,
happened either.
same. I know it. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's
Um,
right.
so one other thing here before we get to kind of your overall vision, Al, is you had talked a little bit about just the feeling of how different you feel, and I'm more so wanting to structure this question in a way of like, let's say somebody else is going through a journey like this, whether they're just starting a business, going on a fitness journey, like how could you articulate to them like, hey, this is what you're going to get to feeling, and you can even expand on it like how you felt different, because I know that it may be obvious in the sense of like, yes, you've put on muscle, you've grown, you've matured, but like you told me you felt different, and I just want to explore that a little bit too, because someone might be listening to this and be like, yeah dude, I'm just starting my journey, or what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you're, especially being a fat kid, like every time you sit down, you pull your t-shirt out, you make sure like you're trying to make sure your gut doesn't show at any point. And there was just kind of a mindset shift. Losing weight, you start to really. I like the quote. It's confidence isn't built by saying affirmations in the mirror. It's built by having evidence that you are who you say you are. I'm pretty sure that's Michael Smoke from
Mm.
Higher Up Wellness, so I'll give him credit there. But um, I like that quote because that was kind of what it felt like, because I didn't have confidence that I was who I said I was. I like to be like Rich said, I can be cocky and I like to joke around with him all the time. Um, and when I do stuff like that, it's really being able to look in yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, yeah, you did these things, but how do you feel? Like if you don't feel like you're accomplishing much, and like it's not always rainbows, man. Like it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Like I go through a lot of ebbs and flows of feeling like horrible. It has not been. I haven't had a great week this week, but it's okay. Like I know that like this is just a process and it's trial and error. Um, but really, when you go through a fitness journey like that, you start to realize that you can be the person that you want to be, and because it's like I said, showing up in the little
Ooh,
the little
yeah.
days. It's the showing up every day when you don't want to go to the gym, and it actually is more important to do the stuff you don't want to do in those time periods than doing the stuff you'd rather do, because the stuff you'd rather do is comfort, and if you're doing the uncomfortable thing, most likely that means you're heading towards growth.
Yeah, man, that's bars right there for sure. A, because it's absolutely true, but also there is a guy that I haven't read his books yet, but he's got some great content. His name is John Assaraf, and he's a neurobiologist mixed with like um, I wouldn't say a motivational speaker. That's the wrong way of looking at it. But one of his main phrases is like, we're designed for survival. So anything that you do that is going to take you out of survival mode is inherently uncomfortable. And most people just aren't willing to sit with that discomfort. They just want to immediately get comfortable again. And after he talked about that, Goggins is a great example, but just being able to shift that mindset of like, this is uncomfortable, but this is the real shit right here. This is the needle movers, whether it's running a marathon or working out or building a business or, depositing good into your relationships. Like that's the really good stuff that, you reap the rewards on. So let's get to your brand a little bit, man. So like, this is where I think it's going to get really fun on, where you're at, where you're looking to go. And as I kind of understand it, Mustard is who at one point you were identified as, which I think now you'd probably say like, you know what, fuck all those other people. I am the motherfucking Mustard guy, and I'm going to take this thing to the next level, But more importantly, I think you have a much grander vision for yourself. And I don't want to necessarily say like a fitness brand, but I'll let you talk on this. Like how has that like reshaped itself as you've gone from quote unquote the Mustard kid to now and what you want to do?
Yeah, obviously. So I think when I started to lose weight and started to kind of go through that transformation, I realized that I always knew I wanted to own my own company in some way. Like originally it was Alex's Hot Mustard. And then I realized that, I wanted to help people. That's really something that I was pretty big on, and especially in the fitness industry, in the health and wellness industry. And I thought that was gonna be through like I was really big into Young LA and Anaka Power clothing. So I was like, I'm gonna make my own clothing brand. It's gonna be sweet. And obviously that's a super saturated market, and I have no idea how to. I do make merch, but it's not. I would not say we're getting close to the Young LA brand there. But I think when it comes to that, it's really something about trying to make products and make something that helps people. And I kind of forgot your question, so I'm going to bring it back to you here.
No, you're good. I was just more so wondering how you, or what you were envisioning instead of Mustard, like the grander picture. And I think you had said helping people, but obviously continue.
Yeah, obviously. So, right now we just make mustard. That's who we are. Big House Hot Mustard. That's our brand. But we're DH Industries, Del Vecchio have run Industries. Little collab with our names there. Not very creative on any front, but our goal in the long term is to actually grow into be a low-cal sauce company, at least at first. And if that takes off, branch out into maybe we'll do more than that. Maybe we'll be protein bars and protein and whatever. But for our goal is low-cal sauces and to kill that market and really help people with, there's not a lot of all this. You have a few brands out there, but most of the brands out there that are doing the low-cal sauces are having microplastics in them, are using shelf stabilizers that are full of preservatives that are still carcinogens, and you're still not really ingesting things that are healthy for you. So trying to get really into the health and wellness space and not just the fitness space is like our key market.
Nice. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and what's nice, I know it sounds like, pretty broad as far as like your actual name of your company, but I think that gives you freedom too. I mean, for the podcast, my podcast is literally called Life with Nick. You can't get any more broad than that. But I'm also like, yeah, like that's the whole concept is I want to live my life and I want to bring people in to live life with me. And I can take that obviously in many ways. But did you want to comment on anything there, Rich?
I was just going to add to that point. Yeah, you look at these condiments and you look at the ingredients, and it's got 60 ingredients you can't pronounce, 45 of them just additive, just so much garbage in there just to make it shelf stable and add coloring and all this stuff. And it's just stuff you shouldn't be putting in your body, I'm sure. So
yeah, and I'm really digging the new research coming out, with getting obviously Red 40 out of food, and we have a long way to go there, but I think you guys are on the forefront there. And I also think too, there's something with investing with a smaller business that is like doing things the right way, because right now, excuse me, that is where I think that the future is going to go, is just a lot of people that can operate a small business and fight against big corporations that just put this stuff out, because we're on the precipice of understanding how bad this stuff is for us. And we've just, accepted it for this many years, but to see you guys take action on that, I think is awesome. So what is it about mustard though? I think that is something I want to talk about a little bit too. Like you could have done a lot of different things, but what was it about mustard specifically that you were like, you know what, this is what we're going to start with?
So yeah, we got to go back a long way to talk about how this started.
Long ways back.
So It's actually, the mustard is actually my mom's recipe originally. So shout out Beth Del Vecchio
Okay.
if you're listening. But it's originally it's our mom's recipe. And when I was 5 years old, I asked my mom if I could go to Denver, Colorado. And she told me, okay, because I saw Rich got to go out there. Our sister Rachel got to go out there. They got to go ski with my uncle and cousins. And I was like, I want to go do that. Like, I want to get, sounds like so much fun. She said, all right, maybe when you're 10, you can go out there. She thought I'd forget. I turned 10. I go up to her, Mom, I'm going to Denver this year, right? Like, this is the year. I'm a huge Broncos fan. Like, it was 2014, so we had just lost the Seahawks 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. I'm like, we're getting back to the mountaintop this year. I want to go out there. And she's like, all right, Alex. Well, how are you going to pay for it? And she gives me this like piece of paper. It's like this big. And it's got chore lists. It's like you can vacuum for 25 cents and whatever. And I was 10 years old. I did not know much, but I did know that was not going to pay for a plane ticket and definitely not going to pay for a Broncos ticket on top of that. So I just thought, just my luck, actually. We had one of our family friends called my mom about a week later asking for her to start selling it commercially to him. He was opening a hot dog stand over in Rochester, New York, and he wanted to like have some sort of differentiator. He's like, the mustard is the differentiator. We have to have it. It's so good. It tastes great. And so my mom said, she had 3 kids in high school at this point, or 2 kids in high school and a kid in elementary school. And she was like, there's no way I can do this. There's absolutely no way. And I was in the back of the car. I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. I was like, I'll do it. And she said, all right, you agreed. So she let me do it. And I started shipping it out to him. And I remember getting my first check. It was for $120. And I kind of realized, I was like, and then there was a note in it. It was said like, the people of Rochester, New York are going to know what Alex's hot mustard is. And like, they're going to love it. And I kind of knew at that point, I was like, all right, well, if these people are liking it, maybe the people where I'm from are liking it too. So I started going, this is when I'm 10 years old. 10 years old, it's the summer. I'm going, selling it at the local Manchester Farmers Market. And I spent about 3 years doing that, from about 10 to 13, selling Alex's hot mustard at the farmers markets. And, we really built up a customer base through that. And so that was something that was really special. And I also, on top of that, got to go watch Peyton Manning's at the all-time passing record in Denver that fall when against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was he actually set the record and then left, so it wasn't that cool. But he set the record, left, and then Brock Osweiler came in and we lost anyways. But we did win the Super Bowl that year. So I was praying, we just passed our 10-year mark of doing Alex's hot mustard, even though we've rebranded to Big Al's now. And I was hoping, Broncos, Pats. I was like, oh, Bo Nix to the mountaintop. It's all because of Alex's hot mustard. Like, it's, the first year we started, we did it. 10 year we started, and we're going to get back. And I was right. Rich actually gave a jar to Riley Moss over the summer, and I was all fall long. I was like, oh yeah, if we win, it's all because of me. It's all because of me. So yeah.
That's so funny. But also I love the deep family roots there. I think that's what a lot of people would totally miss. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on the podcast, because I had no idea that that's where it came from, but it's great that it survived that long. And just speaking from experience, I've had both of them. They're absolutely phenomenal. It's a phenomenal product, and I'm more of a sweet heat guy myself, just because I am a little bit of a pansy when it comes to spiciness. But if you're growing up on that stuff, it probably tastes great to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I put it I actually just did a post this week. I was like, this is what I put it in. And people were like, no way, like a mac and cheese. I put it in my mac and cheese. I'd actually made it earlier. It was awesome. It's like, you add a little spice to it. It's great. It's a super versatile product. That's like my favorite thing about it. And our mom.
Yeah, it's more than just a mustard. It's like a spread that I literally put on everything. Like my, bagel, egg, and cheese in the morning. Like I can't have one without mustard on. It's just not right. Like you wouldn't think mustard and eggs goes together, but like it's so good. I take it to the gym, and my gym bros absolutely like go crazy for it. I sell a couple jars every morning at the gym, and they're putting on their chicken rice, they're putting on their scrambled eggs in the morning, and they just like eat it. Our buddy from West Delaware and your fellow Upper Iowa, Cole Steven, he goes through one of these jars at least once a week. Like that dude houses mustard. He's one of our biggest clientele. He can eat some mustard. Puts it on everything.
Oh, dude,
it's super versatile.
That's what I love to hear. Not only knowing Cole, but also because one thing that I think the first time I had it, it was I want to say with the burger, and that was obviously really, really good. Just like some cheese and then put that on. But the breakfast sandwiches, dude, when I think you'd mentioned that to me in Snap. You're like, just try it with some eggs and some sausage, and like unbelievable. And I am due to buy my next round with you guys too, so I'll be doing that after the podcast here to get that rolling for you guys. But that's another thing I think too, is when you're talking about hot mustard, yes, mustard itself can be used as a condiment, but what you guys are really doing is just giving people a fucking Swiss Army knife, a good whole food Swiss Army knife to spice up their life a little bit. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. A lot of people are like, I don't even like yellow mustard. Like I would never put yellow mustard on anything. Like I just wouldn't. But like this is different. It's a good spread for everything. I make a charcuterie board and like there's always mustard and people are like, what am I supposed to dip my salami and cheese in this? And like, I'm like, yeah, just try it. And then they do, and they're like, oh my God, like that is crazy. So it's
You're like, duh, that's what I've been
yeah,
trying to tell
I
you.
know. And then people will be like, oh wait, this is actually really delicious. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like I'm not just gonna promote a horrible product. Like this is good stuff. So
Um, and then when you're like developing this, obviously your mom had it, but like, do you have any like trial runs with it? Like, I think that's what a lot of people would be interested in too. Like, you probably just didn't take it right away and put it in a jar and sold it, but like, walk me through that process of like the manufacturing of it. Like, how does one even take something like that and even think to, hey, maybe let's jar it up and send it, to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so originally, like my mom was already doing, she already had some, so like it was really trial and error. And we followed her recipe, and then it came to, it's been really trial and error since me and Rich have started like 6 months ago. We still are developing. We came out with our honey version. That was me in the kitchen. My mom was not happy for about a week because I was throwing different spices in the mustard. I was like, Mom, this one's got Cajun, this one's got cayenne, and this one's got like I think I had turmeric, and I put garlic. Like I was mixing anything I could. I had a nutmeg in one. I was like, Mom, we gotta sweeten it up a little bit. It's pretty honey, so like try this one. And she's just like on the verge of vomiting because some of them were so bad. Like trying with different spices, trying with different like. She's like, please stop doing this to me. But I was like, no, we had to find one. So eventually, like we figured out. Like we switched up a few ingredients. We the peppers. Made some switches with the peppers, and that's because that's a big thing too. We use hot peppers, but we use different formulations of different hot peppers for the different versions. So our Big Al's hot mustard, it's got more habaneros in it than our sweet heat. Our sweet heat doesn't have any habaneros in it. It's a completely different formulation for what kind of hot peppers we use.
That's probably why I like it a little bit more, because it doesn't have that in it, because I am such a wimp when it comes to that stuff. But I
and
think I
yeah,
think
and one
that's
other
where.
thing with
Go
that
ahead.
is I'm not sorry for interrupting, but
Oh gosh, no.
and it totally varies by the season with jalapenos and habaneros. So like, one batch I might add 3 pounds of jalapenos, just like because that's what we normally stick to or whatever. Not saying that's it, but I made one this summer and it was so spicy. It was disgusting. It was like horrible. It like absolutely fried my mouth, fried everyone's mouth that's ate it. A couple guys like really like spicy stuff, and so I just like gave it to them because I'm like, I can't sell this. It's horrible. So like we literally have to like taste test each one to make sure it's like relatively
Yeah.
consistent. And they have like Scoville unit testers, so you can try to keep the same Scoville units, but they're like $5,000. It's like, all right, we're not quite there yet, but like just
Yeah.
just based on what we know it should taste like is we have to try every batch and make sure it's consistent. So but sometimes
And that's the
batches are
part.
just ridiculously hot. So
And that's what I wanted to really get to. So I'm glad you guys are bringing this up, because I think everyone sees the end product and they just assume that that's how business works. And it's like, no, 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 no. There's a whole process to, developing your craft, staying consistent, trying new things. And it's super funny that you've had some things that are just not even acceptable. That's kind of fun and part of the journey as much as
hmm
delivering a good product. um, So I would assume at this point, so you guys have been in business, would you say 6 months roughly, in terms of like actually sharing it out, or has
not
it been
not
longer?
About
it's about nine
yeah,
months.
9 months. About April last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Um, So I'm assuming now you guys are at the point in business where like you have your consistency, you have the recipes that people really like. Do you think you'll always tinker with things, or do you think that eventually you'll try to go other, like instead of mustard, you try other things as well too? Like I guess what I'm asking in a roundabout way is, do you feel like do you feel like mustard is finalized at this point, or do you still want to kind of continue to craft a couple different mustard related recipes?
Yeah, I think like our sweet heat and our OG Big Al's, like I think we're good with those. Like we know people like them, but I get people ask me every day. They're like, "Where's the horseradish? Where's the horseradish recipe? Where's the Dijon recipe?" So like I think there's a few more mustards that we gotta crank out, which could be coming this summer. Who knows? But then yeah, and Al could touch on just the sauces in general that we wanna get into.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, being Midwestern boys, that we put ranch on everything. So my big thing is, low-cal ranch. There's not one good low calorie ranch out there, because the ranch normally, it's the base is mayonnaise, so it's really hard to do. And I guess no one's figured it out yet. So our goal is, to be the first ones to figure that out. But that's what's
Oh
coming
yeah.
next for sauces, if we're branched out on anything, because I personally, I put ranch on my pizza. I put ranch. It goes on everything. You can say what you want about it. It's one of the best condiments. It's so bad for you. As much as I love Hidden Valley, I also love being known I'm putting clean ingredients in my body. So that's the next step. If we're gonna do when we branch out from mustard, we're definitely gonna get into that realm.
Yeah,
I
pumped about
love
that.
the
We need a healthy ranch. I mean, it's my favorite beverage, so we need to get something healthy.
ambition.
I love that stuff, man.
And right now, obviously, Al, you're in Tennessee, and I just want to say this for those that might be listening to this in Tennessee or just anywhere that is in the Midwest. I don't think people realize the level of importance that ranch holds in the Midwest. Like that's why I'm so excited for you too, because if you could crack the code, like I think it's a multi-million dollar industry. I really do. That's how much people are obsessed with it.
Hmm.
So, but they probably love barbecue sauce in Tennessee. Like, what's like the Southern gem?
I
Like, I
mean,
don't know.
I
What's the
mean
Southern gem
barbecue. I mean
sauces?
barbecue. Everyone swears, like every state down in the South swears they have the best barbecue. So that's kind of that's a throw a hands up thing. That's you get depending on who you're talking to, they're gonna have a different opinion. Their grandma's is the best. Obviously, that's what everyone always says. But I
Oh
think
yeah, of
there
course.
is also a huge market for ranch down here too. Like I think across the board everyone loves ranch. I don't think there's anyone out there that I've ever met that's been like, I hate ranch. So
That's true. That's good to
Except
know.
for
I was
upstate New
wondering.
Yorkers with their blue cheese, they do love their blue cheese. So
that's weird. Blue cheese is
Nah, that's a
horrible.
disgrace.
yeah, it's weird. It's
I
no good.
shouldn't knock on them too much, but I just haven't had enough time to get acclimated to blue cheese. Um, So we're going to take it just a touch of a step back, but then we're going to continue with what we're talking about. So the vision was crafted. Just obviously, you got your mom's recipe. You have these intentions. You've executed on these intentions. You've really taken a stride there, and you're starting to kind of like branch out into other potential things. And obviously, going back to your vision now of like the brand of health and wellness and fitness. So, talk to me a little bit about taking the leap, because I think that anyone that does anything in business, there's always a moment or a handful of moments where things go wrong. You don't get what you want. It's not received like you want. And it can be really scary, and people want to give up very, very quickly, unfortunately. So, when did you kind of like take your first leap, so to speak? And then, like, have there been any walls that you've hit along this journey? Because I'm sure there's at least one or two, maybe.
Yeah, so I'd say me and Rich sat down, like it was about a year ago. I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay for spring break. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for it. And I call him off the phone. I'm like, dude, like I'm a sophomore in college and I feel like I need to start something. I feel like I'm behind. I wanted to start like I was looking at my bank account with negative $75 in it. And I was like, I can't even pay for spring break. Like, what am I going to do? Like, what should I do? Should I start a business? Do you have any ideas? And he sat me down. He's like, we're on FaceTime. He's like, dude, you have a business. Like you have a product people have already enjoyed. And it kind of clicked on me that I could brand rebrand my like original goal of Alex's hot mustard into Big Al's hot mustard, and it could be a low calorie sauce. It could be something that helps people. It could be in the space that I want it to be in. And the first leap, I'm actually an ambassador for our entrepreneurship center down here at Tennessee. So, and I actually got to talk about this last week to a bunch of 10th graders. And I said, the easiest way to take the leap in anything is just to do it. And it's the simplest thing, yet it's the simplest thing, yet the hardest thing, because you don't think about the costs. You don't think about like the externalities of what people are going to think about it. You know, trying anything new is always going to be hard because the people that like you don't like you for doing the new things. They like you for who you are as a person. And so you're always going to have some pushback. But if you truly believe in something and you truly want to do something, to actively doing it is the only thing that's actually going to help you and actually push towards your goals. So I'd say like that was my moment was, you know, I sat down with Rich, I had that talk, and then I instantly got back. I was like, all right, we're going to rebrand though. It's not going to be Alex's Hot Mustard anymore. And I instantly went to work on getting new logos. And I was like, all right, Rich, get the LLC fired up. Let's get everything going. And doing the thing is the only thing that's doing the thing. So,
dude, for being 21, that's bars right there as well. And I think that for someone listening to this podcast, whatever it is that you want to start, I couldn't agree more with that. In fact, just to do a quick tie into the podcast, even there are so many times where I would have technical errors, or guests would not show up, or we wouldn't get the footage that we wanted to, or editing. You know, you're editing on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon for hours and hours and hours, and people just think, obviously, again, going back to the comment on like the final product, and it's like there are so many times that you want to quit. There are so many times that you're nervous or afraid of what people think, but then there's just so much like equity and ownership when you can take those steps. And so I just applaud you as a young man to be able to see that opportunity and just to act very, very quickly on doing it, because the first thing you ever do is going to be dog shit. The 10th thing that you ever do is going to be dog shit. And like people will make fun of you. I remember like somebody commented on one of the first podcasts I did, and they're like, dude, your video quality is trash. Your audio is okay. And I just remember thinking like, but I'm the one doing it. That's what's funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're the one actually doing it. And, so that's why I wanted to bring this question up for anyone that's going through something. And it doesn't have to be business. It can be a lot of different things. But I loved your comments on like when you're new, you're going to do new habits and new things related to what you want to do. And that's removing yourself from who you were hanging out with. And maybe they might not have good habits. And so they're going to face some resistance there. But so in the same light, but in a different manner, when you're gaining momentum, when you're seeing progress made, what were some of the small scale victories in this too? I'm sure obviously establishing the LLC, starting to get your first products out to market. Like, let's talk about that as well.
I'd say our first big win was we got our website posted. So our website went up, and you know the first day we got a few orders and it was cool. And, you know, then you kind of drag a little bit. It's like, you know, it was kind of stagnant. You know, some people were checking it out, but people are checking it out. You're seeing the people are going on it. But, oh, I got 150 people went on, but no one bought any mustard. Okay, so what do I got to do to get them to buy the mustard? And then go stagnant for a little while. And then I got down back to school. I ended up selling, you know, to the family loves it too. So we sold 70 or 75 jars at our family reunion, kind of got them to push it out, and they kind of branched it out. And now that helped. We got some orders from, you know, Colorado and from New York and all over where they brought it back to their places. And that was another small win. And then I won. So I won we have an entrepreneurship. We have a few different competitions here down at UT, but I won one called the Graves Business Competition in the lifestyle division, where I had to do a 10-minute pitch for Big Al's Hot Mustard in front of a panel of 5 judges. So we won $5,000 in startup funding for that. And that was a huge victory. And that not only pushed towards a momentum, but we saw a lot more momentum from that, because then from there I got put on this holiday gift guide for UT entrepreneurs, and from there the Knoxville News picked it up, and that was one of the coolest moments I think I've had personally yet. Was one morning, it was my one day off. I work as a pizza chef back home when I'm back home over winter break, and that's my one day off. I wake up at like 10 or 11, and my phone's blowing up from Rich. It's like, dude, what the hell is going on? And I look, and our Shopify is just
I was up at 6. Yeah.
And it was
blowing up.
This Knoxville News article posted at 5 a.m. And it was me with smiling. It was literally like me smiling here with like a photo of the mustard right next to my face. and we got 20 or 30 orders in the midst of 2 hours, and it was one of the coolest moments ever because I was like, oh my god, like this could be like people are actively seeking us out at this point. Like this is a cool feeling to have, and that was kind of a small win that was not even small, but it was a win that felt like your work goes when you're working towards something, especially like a lot of times I am working towards stuff every day. I work on the mustard, and it's it goes stagnant a lot of times. Like I'm not feeling like I'm winning. I'm not feeling I'm hitting any momentum. It feels very like slow pace, especially in the startup phase. But that was a moment where I was like, oh wow, like this could be big. Like this can be big. This has the opportunity to be something that really people seek out and people go. Like the goal is, to walk down the Whole Foods aisle and they're not looking for anything else. They're looking for Big Al's hot mustard down in Whole Foods or whatever store we get into. Like go into the store to grab the mustard. That's really the main goal, and to really help people. We like to say that our products don't only taste good, but you don't have to sacrifice your taste for your health. So,
Right. Holy cow, I didn't know that, but that is epic. Now I have one more question naturally from that. So like, obviously you guys are super close and Rich being the older brother, like what's your coaching to him going in there? Cause you got to have a boatload of confidence if you're
Dude,
going to go talk to a panel like that.
I mean, he hopped on a call with like a Teams call with some my boss and like my other like some of the bank executives, and like he just gave this pitch to us. I'm like, run it through, dude. Like just do it. And like he ran it through. He's like a little nervous of fire alarms going off, of course, because he lives in the frat house. I'm like, oh god, I would be freaking out right now. Like these are some like big wig dudes, and he's just like pitching it like not nervous. I'm like, oh, like are you reading off a sheet when you're giving the pitch? He's like, no, I'm not reading anything. Like I'm just going all at the top of the dome. I'm like, for 10 minutes, just going like crazy. And I was like, dude, I am impressed. I was like, I don't know, like your stage presence is insane. Like I would be freaking out. And then like I got the
Yeah.
actual video of him doing it. I'm like, holy shit, dude, I'm proud of you. Like this is freaking sweet. Like this is like very impressive. Like who knows if this is gonna do anything, but like that alone right there like is gonna get you so far in life, because that is
Oh,
like not easy to do. It's very I couldn't coach. I would have been like freaking out. So he balled out. I think it was all the singing on stage, maybe acting as Troy Bolton in High School Musical, and I think that really helped out. But dude, it was very impressive. Good work, Al. Good stuff.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because that's just like really, really cool, right? We were just talking about hitting walls. Well, these are the things that when you get past those points that you're just like, dude, this is awesome. And to Richard's point, like anytime you can get an opportunity, that's when you really feel like, who cares? Like, who cares what happens? I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to send it. And this would be the first of many things, dude. Like, and now that you have, like, going back to evidence, now that you have that evidence, it's like allowing that to build up, but also like, that's just going to be such a cool part of the long-term story too, of looking back and being like, do you remember when that happened? And like the next big swing is going to come. Cause dude, I could see you too, for sure, going on Shark Tank and just being like, getting ready to swim with the sharks.
Yeah, right. It would have been way cooler, Al, if you were, 10 years old on Shark Tank. Just this cute little kid up there, this cute little pudgy kid selling some mustard. But hey, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I didn't want Mr. Wonderful taking
That's
my
right.
equity.
Mark Cuban, if you're listening.
Yeah. It would be Cuban. It has to be.
Well, I would say too, though, this is where that fitness journey comes in, because that's how you build mental toughness too. Like you probably, I don't know if you would have had that kind of confidence without the fitness, but that's where I think fitness is a great differentiator, because you've been through hard things before and now you got into that and it's like, well, this is sink or swim, and I'm not going to sink, baby. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to knock the socks off. But one last little pairing to this, and then we'll get to some more stuff on mustard. So as you were going through this, obviously you're talking to Rich, you had the pitch with the executives. What's your mindset going into that? Like, is it exactly that, sink or swim, or like, what are your thoughts?
I just like to have fun with it. I mean, in all senses of the form, like I tend to be people. That's like one of my people. Some people see it as a weakness. Some people see it as strength. When I'm in professional settings, I tend to be the most like casual professional ever. And I think that's also part of me being 21. or 20, but that's, when I do stuff, I like to be like, I was just at the meeting for 2 hours and we're supposed to be all serious. And I was drawing a photo of Harambe because I just thought it was hilarious. And like the people around me are laughing. I'm like, all right, well, I got some, like, it's just trying to have fun with it. And it really does come down to, I think, the confidence part of being able to go up there and not worry about like my self image is one thing, but it also, I would give credit to, I spent 15 years up on stage singing, doing musicals, dancing. And when you dance like me, you have no social anxiety because I can't dance at all. And getting up in front of like 500 people and dancing, there's not many, like, I don't get nervous anymore. It's a show. It's like I get up there and I like to say that's kind of what I do is before I kind of take some deep breaths and I kind of get into a character, so to say, and try to just take myself away from being Alex and be like, okay, I'm now the CEO of DH Industries and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to wow them because that's who I am. So it's,
Oh, I love that. Love that. Yeah, there's a book out there called Alter Ego Effect, and they talk about that. They talk about the power of like embracing, like Dwayne the Rock Johnson is the Rock when he goes out, because it like eliminates a lot of limiting beliefs. Because again, you could all let that go to your head. It's like, oh my God, I'm talking to a panel of these people, or I'm talking to these bank executives. Like, who am I to do that? But in reality, we're all people, right?
yeah.
We're just human beings trying to figure it all out. And if it goes great. If it goes bad, like who cares? But on that point, though, what are some limiting beliefs that you've had to overcome, like either one of you, in terms of either growing this business, distributing the business, some of that stuff? I'm just kind of curious on that too.
Limiting beliefs, I think, being age is definitely a huge part of it. Like I still get that. I hit those walls all the time. Like I'll be hanging out with my buddies and, like, especially when I'm trying to do something and, like, I know I'm trying to build something, but I'm not there. And I don't want to claim that I'm like like I say, I'm a CEO of DH Industries. I don't want to claim that I am, making all this money and doing all these, like, I want to be really grounded and be real with like the people around me. And so a hard thing has been, trying to be like, okay, yeah, all my buddies right now, it's 9:30 on Wing Wednesday. Like they're all at the bar, man. And I'm here and I'm here. And so it's one of those things where it's like, the limiting beliefs is I don't know that I ever really have. I truly think I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. But if a thing that I often run into, like a wall, is like, am I sometimes missing some of my college experience that, that Rich talks so highly of all the time, and my sister Rachel talks so highly of, and my mom, because I'm trying to build and I'm trying to do all these things. And so it's really weighing the pros and cons of that. And I couldn't be happier. To be here with you right now. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, I know what I'm doing is worth it, but you do get those thoughts in the back of your head where it's like, if it doesn't work out, then was this all for nothing? And am I wasting time when I could be with my best friends, eating wings and killing a pitcher of beer right now? So, that's something that I have a limiting factor occasionally that comes up.
Yeah, that's very valid. And I think a lot of people feel that in a different way. Like when you get to be, Rich and I's age, when you have a family or you have a wife or you have other things where it's like, man, who am I to be doing this when I got to take care of my family or I got to take care of, whatever those things are. Same question to you though, Rich, like as that exact situation is for you right now. I know you're not necessarily doing presentations like he is, but like, have you had to overcome things as far as your family life with this?
I mean, time for sure. I mean, I do a lot of the making of the mustard because Alex isn't making a whole lot of mustard in the frat house, which is probably a good thing. We'll do that in my kitchen. And, it's a huge process. It takes a long time. Bailey loves that our kitchen is completely destroyed for 2 days as we're making this and and canning it and making sure it's all good to go and labeling it and doing the whole process just takes a long time. So, but really like, just learning how to start a business is I went to business school at UNI. I have a finance degree and business management degree, and they teach you how to, calculate weighted average cost of capital in your business. But okay, that's great. But like, how do I start a business? It's like, what's step number one? like how do I file to create an LLC? How do I get business insurance? What do you do? So like just learning that as we come along has been super cool, and like it's just very informative. Like just learning I learn something new every day, just whether it
Yeah.
be business or mustard or the CPG industry, like just everything. It's uh it's very interesting. So
And that's where I think also a lot of people miss, right? Where it's again like, yeah, you're going on and you're crushing presentations, right? Or you're going on there and selling and developing the website, but it's literally like, no, like yes, school can give you education and give you intellect, but until you're actually doing it, that's a whole another thing right there.
right. Yeah.
And that's but in some ways, I think that's what holds people back is they think that they have to have it all figured out. In reality, you're just chopping wood every day. You're just like, let's just win today. Let's focus on today. But that's a very, very good point, Rich, as far as like, yes, you may have this, very, very sophisticated degree or you know what I'm saying? Like just in general, like you
Yeah.
have a degree, you've learned all this stuff, but like what even is a business checking account? Like what
Yeah.
do you, like, what's the legal, I went to a networking event this morning called 1 Million Cups, and it's a guy talking about today about patents, about copyrights, about all this stuff, and he was going into this, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that, But like, there are some people out there that literally file patents and just wait for other people to try to like do what they're doing, and then they just sue them. Like
Hmm.
it's crazy to me, like what that side of business looks like. So the fact that you're talking about it is great, and then with that one thing I did want to ask you both is, I mean, this would be very open ended, but like, what are you both still learning about the business journey? Like, what do you have that you feel like you've got down, but like, where are areas that you're ready to explore as well?
I think well, I mean, I'm still going. I'm still in business school, so I'm still a junior. I got 3 more semesters, and I think something that I've been trying to really learn is I'm taking a social media strategy class right now. It's really cool class.
Ooh, that'll
My
be good.
teacher's like the
Yeah.
man. He's got like 100,000 followers and like goes viral on TikTok all the time, which is like a cool thing. But the really thing is that I find interesting is all the different A/B testing and the metrics and like what actually makes these brands successful and how does this ad differ for this ad, and that's a one separate side of it that I'm trying to figure out. And the other side is like, okay, in the CPG industry, how do I get on a store shelf? How do I go to the showcase? How do I provide that I'm a differentiator to a retailer, a wholesaler? Like, there's so many key aspects of, especially the consumer packaged good industry is a like $50 billion industry annually, and it varies over a million different products. Everything that goes into Costco, everything that goes into any grocery stores is a consumer packaged good. And so it's like, how can we take a niche part of that market and create market share while also taking away from huge corporations that are, Procter and Gamble covers 300 products. Heinz has, I think, over 200 different SKUs in like 10 different kinds of like foods.
Mm.
And there's so many titans and so many people out there where it's like, Heinz could listen to this right now and they could go make their own version of our mustard, and we'd be pretty much screwed. They don't have our recipe, but the same thing with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has their Chick-fil-A sauce, and great, you can go to Walmart and get the great value chicken sauce, and it's their knockoff version. Like, brand is really everything. And so it's really huge trying to figure out, how I can market to make sure they know like our brand is the OG brand, is the sincerity, is the premium brand, but while also, Rich found
Mm.
yesterday some sweet heat by some other company. It's like, how do we make sure that they know that our product is better while having similar names or similar characteristics? So
Yeah, Rich, feel free to build on that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to Aldi and Berman's had a sweet heat. I'll have a video coming out here in the next week or so about doing a little comparison on the two. I'm sure Big D's sweet heat is a lot better, and it's also in a glass jar instead of plastic. So, um, what I'm looking forward to the most is um, like getting it into a store, getting with a co-packer, someone who makes the product for us, and then starting to deal with the high B, deal with the fairway, and like I think that is just the most interesting thing ever, where you're kind of more hands off, and like you have a co-packer making your recipe for you, and they're shipping truckloads of it to all around, and like it's crazy how that works. And yeah, like I've got some great resources from the gym. This guy who's been he's in my locker row, so I see him every morning. Um, and I knew him for a year, and then I started bringing this mustard in, talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to get this into stores one day. He's like, oh, like I just sold my company that literally just gets CPG products into Hy-Vee. I'm like, oh, like you're the guy to talk to. Like this is awesome. It's great that we built a relationship first before I'm like, hey, can you get this mustard into Hy-Vee right now? So it's gonna be cool when this takes off. It's gonna be a crazy ride. So
Yeah, that's freaking absolutely spot on. And two, what is so cool from a third party perspective, and why I wanted to also get on the podcast and talk about this stuff is like, we're talking in February of 2026, like, you guys could strike something up before the year end. I mean, even in the next 6 months, something could really happen with this. And that's why it is consistency. You just got to kind of stay in the game as long as you can and continue to learn and continue to develop. And I think that social media certainly has a cool element of things. But at the end of the day, like you were just talking about, you can go viral, right? And sell like 100 jars. But what's more ROI generating is if you could get in Hy-Vee, so it's like, where do you focus your time and energy, and how do you take all of it and continue to build and develop? But obviously you guys had some great answers there. So that was fantastic. So one last thing here that I wanted to talk about, because I feel like this is a really, really good piece of the podcast. So like, as you guys are going through the stages of obviously taking the leap, getting going, you're just talking about the next steps, the future. How do you guys kind of evaluate progress when it comes to growing your business? I don't know if you have a methodology, and if you don't, not a big deal, but I just love this question because I think it's a good way to just understand your guys' way of thinking for something like this.
I think truly it's as simple as just getting it into the hands of people who haven't had it. And like Rich said, like there is a huge market of people who love our products who hate mustard, who absolutely hate mustard, who are like, I have some buddies here that I live in the frat house. I live with 40 guys, and there's some guys here that are like, dude, I would never ever put mustard on anything, but like I love Big Al's hot mustard. It's delicious. It goes on all of my food, and so I think the progress is, any single person that I can convert into a customer and into someone who enjoys our product. We're not only helping them become healthier, but then we're also helping them. We're helping ourselves because we're getting a return of customers and we're creating that conversion. So.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Obviously, Rich, feel free to build on that as well.
Yeah, I like that out, but I'm big on giving the first jar to people for free because I know they're going to return. They always come back. They come back with a vengeance. They buy a couple jars, and it's good stuff. So
speaking of which, I think that's a great time to let you know, Nick, that for all of your listeners, if they use LWN at checkout on BigHouseHotMustard.com, they are going to get a buy one get one free jar. So they're going to get a jar, and they're going to get their second jar for free. If they want to switch that up, that's any of our products. That's our gluten-free, that's our sweet heat, and that's our Big House Hot Mustard. So I think that's a good place to let everyone know that.
LWN at checkout. Yep, Life with Nick, LWN.
Hell yeah, boys. I appreciate that. And let's so let's just do this really quick, because I'm a kind of guy that, as I operate a podcast, it's all about barrier of entry. Like, you're going to see me and click on the link, but how quickly can you get the product in the hands of the people, right? Mine's just digital. Your guys' is food. So is this as simple as just going on your website, or like how can a consumer literally just get this in their hands?
Yeah. If you go to BigAlsHotMustard.com and you order a jar of mustard, as long as Alex or I am at home, like it's going out that day. Like we had that 30 orders that day when Alex was in the newspaper, and we sent 30 orders out in one day. It was, some of those were 6-jar orders. We had the inventory, and we sent out a lot of mustard. So like,
yeah, I actually
it's going to get to you as fast as USPS can get it to you. So
I actually did the math. I call my room the Mustard Mansion because I think it's just that funny little play on words. But I have 3,504 ounces of mustard in my room right now as we speak. So and the weight for that,
Oh
the
my
weight for that,
God.
not including the jars, is about 220 pounds. So just to put that in perspective for people, like
Wow.
we are the mustard men. Like,
Not mustard boys, mustard men.
Well, I think that's true, and maybe someday when I come to Tennessee, I might be able to see the Mustard Mansion. But I think that just speaks to the beauty of small businesses, right there. Like you guys are being crafty, you're being adaptable, and you're giving people a genuine business experience. Because who is crazy enough to have 220 pounds of mustard in their college frat, or like obviously we know Rich Bailey, like she's just unfortunately got to have this at her house. You know what I mean? Like I just think that
Oh
it's
yeah,
so cool that
she's
this
our
is just
she
with you.
yeah she's our best unpaid employee. She is out there grinding, making a lot of mustard with me that she's just kind of suckered into doing. So shout out Bailey. But yeah, we got mustard. So
That's right. We
LWN,
just got
check
to
it.
get this. I was just going to say we'll re-promote that at the end. I have just a couple
Yeah,
more questions for you guys if you
right.
don't mind. And thank you
Yeah.
for giving the listeners of the show an opportunity to get this in their
It's
hands. I
really,
think they'll really
yeah, it's
enjoy
really,
it.
we just want you guys to try it out. So, if you buy a jar, we'll give you one for free. Give that to somebody who you think would like it. That's the best way of advertising for us, is just word of mouth. Take it to a function, have people try it. You're going to a tailgate, let us know. We'll get you a jar.
and
Like, we just want to spread the word.
and
So,
submit photos. You submit a photo to us, you're gonna get thrown on the Instagram. I do a Mustard Monday every day, or every week. So we get photos of the products. Are you using it? We'll throw it up on the Instagram. I'll even tag you if you want. So
Oh man. I mean, if I'm listening to this right now, I mean that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's got to be a great opportunity. But also, I will say from firsthand experience, and I love also being able to have a podcast to talk about this. Like obviously I've known you for a while, Rich, and Alex, you're a great young man. Like when I got my first order, you guys, like the packaging was really well done. It was intimate. It made me really feel like I was like interacting with you in some way. So like for someone that's wondering like what are you actually going to get, like I can very confidently say like you're going to get well taken care of, and I think that's a good value that you guys can have, as you're continuing to spread the word. With that, one last thing here, and I know I just said one last thing not too long ago, but as far as the process goes, so are you guys making mustard like on a weekly basis, or like do you buy it in bulk, or like that's the only other thing I was curious about is like, yes, you have all this stuff on you, but like what's the creation system that you guys use as far as like developing enough product to make sure that you guys can hit everybody that's ordering?
So it really depends. It varies on, I'm at college right now, so I can't make it. But before, shout out to, like you said, shout out to Beth Del Vecchio earlier, because me and her spent about 12 hours in the kitchen cooking it up before I came down to college, and made about 350 jars. So, it really depends. But that's what we do for, when I'm at college. Like obviously don't have a kitchen here, I can't make it. So that's what we do. But when we're, with Rich, if we're out, like sometimes we have to text back and forth, because we'll get an order and we'll be like, hey man, like we had an order a few weeks ago we needed 6 gluten-free jars. And I was like, I have 4. I was like, I can't make any. So someone's got to figure it out. I mean, I can't do it. So
right.
Mm.
I had 0. So I'm like, oh, this is not ideal. So I literally dropped what I was doing, went and got the ingredients, made it that day, shipped the order out the next day. So like,
Man,
it's
I love
that's
that.
just, you just got to roll with the punches of the small biz. You gotta, it's all about your clientele, and you got to make them happy, and you just got to do whatever it takes. So
That's absolutely right. Yeah. No, and I think it's like, again, I think it's guts. Like you guys are showing guts to be able to do some of this stuff. And if people haven't gathered it yet, that's why I wanted to like shine a light on this, because yes, it's like absolutely worthy of buying, like on repeat, to have like this in your house and to use it on everything. But you guys are just literally being able to showcase like what your actual actions are. And I think that speaks louder than anything. I mean, you could come on here and talk and talk and talk, but the fact that you're sharing these testimonials of like, yeah, I literally have, to take the jars to college, or, Rich, for you, like I'm dropping what I'm doing and we're getting it out to you. Like, I think
mhm.
that's the gold that people really need to hear about. So that's why I wanted to ask these questions. But just as we're rounding out, brothers, let's plug social medias as well. So what's your social for Big Al's?
So it's Big Al's Hot
If people
Mustard
want to follow.
on all platforms. So we have a TikTok, and we have an Instagram right now. Potentially a YouTube here in the future. We'll see if we get some interest in that. But right now, Instagram, TikTok, Big Al's Hot Mustard,
Facebook.
BigAlsHotMustard.com, Facebook, Big Al's Hot Mustard. It's all platforms. Pretty simple, pretty easy to get to. So
yeah.
We've got some cool merch out there. Right here you see Big Al's Hot Mustard shirt.
Wearing the hat right now.
Spin around. I don't know if you can see my back like this. See you at the turn, I think is what it says. With the mustard dog. We've got some the gym guys love it, so we've got some gym shirts, and we've got some cool merch out there too.
Wearing the hat right now too. Just throw that out there. The rope hats, Big Al's Big Al's
I was
Hot
wondering
Mustard.
about that. Yeah.
Nice little acronym. So, Yeah,
you guys are, this is starting to really come full circle, which I think is obviously phenomenal. But just as a motivational speech to you boys, as we get concluded on the Life with Nick podcast, like, don't let anything stop you guys. Like, keep hustling, keep working. You guys have a phenomenal product. I love you're making merch too. Like, that's just a wonderful touch to everything. And I hope we can really build a community of people for you as good clients, because you guys deserve it. This is exactly what it's all about here, is chasing a dream and, chasing a vision and making it happen. Every day, every single day. So if you haven't already, folks, go ahead and find these folks find Big Al's on social. Go out and order. As they said, let's plug this one more time. So if you use LWN, that's Life with Nick. If you haven't picked that up, you go ahead and just say that one more time, just so people have a clear picture of that.
Yeah, LWN at checkout is going to get you a buy one, get one of any of our mustards. So you want the gluten-free, the sweet heat, which is our honey version. So a little less spicy, like you said, for anyone who's interested, and our, Big Al's Hot Mustard. So you're going to get one if you want a small jar, big jar, either way. So that's LWN at checkout. Make sure you try it out. Like we said, we're not going to put our brand behind a bad product. So we really believe in what we're doing. It's 8 calories. It's 8 ingredients, 35 calories per serving. And we're super proud of what we do. So if you are at all interested, please be sure to check us out.
Yeah, and this is like the lowest hanging fruit for people to get in and to really try this out. A buy one, get one free. You guys are really putting yourselves out there, but that's what you want to do, right? That's how you care about people. So please take advantage of this opportunity. And gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been a great experience. I hope that it can just shed some light on like the origin story, what you've done, how you're working, and the big future that you have. So any final thoughts from the gentleman here at Big Al's Hot Mustard?
Just want to appreciate the platform.
I just got one thing. Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. And if you're thinking about starting a small business of your own, just remember, life begins outside your comfort zone. Just take the leap. Just get after it.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I hope you enjoyed the podcast on the Life with Nick podcast. We are a local podcast, right? So I don't necessarily have thousands of dollars to input into this thing. However, I do just love the concept of giving voice to everyday people like Big Al's Hot Mustard, who they're everyday heroes, right? They're out there grinding, trying to make a name for themselves. And a lot of these, podcasts and stories that I share are just folks that are friends or family, and just they have all interesting perspectives. So again, thank you for tuning in. Do me a favor, if you don't mind, and go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. That is how I am going to hopefully monetize in the future. But for now, that is the platform that I'm choosing to use. So if you go over there, and then also with that, you can go to the website, which is life-with-nick.com, and check out our other podcasts. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time.